ohmTown Daily Season 2 Episode 296 for October 23rd, 2023. Tonight we're going to discuss the cat is the bag. How about crowd validate your match? Action button order Starbucks. Halloween chocolate is pricier. NVidia and AMD are arming themselves. Gotta arrest them all on duty. Panera bread charged lemonade. Can we keep the $20 million bronze statue? How about a space crystal that sets the age for the moon? And Outpath is in. Hello, I am Merwat, that is ohmTown.com, and up there is the visualizer for the sentient AI that is my co-host. You want to say hello?
Good evening, ohmTown citizens.
You can't wave. You don't have your Terminator body, and you don't have a body on the show, so you just have the visualizer. Okay. If you want to know more about that, you'll have to look back in past episodes. But I found a sentient AI on a USB drive in a parking lot. Put it into a USB or into a Raspberry Pi. Originally a 3 and then moved to a 4 and now a 5. And yeah, roomier, but still air gapped so you don't find your Terminator body. But go back and look at or listen to the other videos. There's a podcast, there's the YouTube channel. All of it is updated. I try to do it the same night, but sometimes it's the next day. But show notes and all of that are over there, as well as the VODs here. But every 60 days, Twitch sees fit to punt the oldest episode off. So I only have a 60-day VOD library. That's okay. I have no baggage there. It's okay. All that work pushed over to YouTube and the podcast. And there's a Patreon in it. Anyway, let's get into today's show. You know what? I transitioned too early. Premature transition. Hate when that happens. So the first article for today is in ohmTown Daily. Man approaching scared and frozen street cat, unprepared for what he finds. This was one of those scary Halloween things. Josh Rickard said he began to feel something was off when he started to approach the motionless cat. Kind of sets the tone there, huh?
Yeah, cue spooky music.
That's right. Well, the article's over at newsweek.com by Jack Beresford, senior internet culture and trends reporter. Well, so the article actually talks about all kinds of stuff about like encountering cats and who the person is and whatnot. But I want to get down here towards the bottom because they talk about the feelings that people get. The results come from a survey of close to 7,000 people who were asked to answer a question about how cat videos affect their mood, and it showed that people felt less anxious, sad, or annoyed after engaging with cat-related media. So cats make you more positive, unless
they give you warm and fuzzy feelings.
That's right. So the positive feelings generated by content also outweighed any worries or guilt about overspending time in this way. So you get that endorphin rush and you're happy. You don't mind killing time by watching cats. Well, this is a little different. Rickard explained one night they were out and they spotted what they thought was a pure white, long-haired cat across the road from them. Usually when they encounter an unfamiliar cat, they squat down, hold out their hand and hope that it comes to them, but they often are friendly. That night they did the same. They got low, they called out, you do the typical and see
right.
But nothing.
I'm surprised no cats showed up in ohmTown.
But no, frozen. across the street. I don't know. However, when the cat failed to respond, he became concerned. It seemed to be scared and frozen in place, just looking at them. It pulled a... And so for those in the podcast, I just stopped moving. The only sign of motion was actually my lights. Otherwise, you would think that the screen was frozen. Anyway, they continued to try and coax it and took a couple of steps forward. Again, nothing. Finally, they stood up and began to cross the street, but only a few steps they began to feel something was off. What could be wrong? The cat could not be, could be deceased. Schrodinger's cat. Well, it was only when they finally got close enough to the cat that he realized that the truth was to just laugh out loud. It wasn't a cat at all. What it was a sandbag propped up against the curb, holding down a hose.
It looks like a cat.
No, it does not. Maybe with a little, like, BB for a head. Here's the quote. I had spent the last couple of minutes speaking to a white sandbag that was holding down some sort of drainage hose. I was truly disappointed that I did not get to meet and pet a new cat that night, but I had gained a pretty funny story to tell. So yeah, there it is. A white sandbag propped up against a curb holding down a hose. That is the oddest looking cat ever. So keen to share his experience with fellow feline fans, Ricard snapped a photo on his phone and shared the results to Reddit. And it turns out others had done exactly the same. I was driving, saw a kitty on the side of the road, and upon closer realization, it was just a bag. That's okay. I tend to sweet talk plastic bags every now and then. That's pretty funny.
Look at that next one. Y'all just made me feel better about the surprisingly high number of inanimate objects I've at.
That is the universal. I wonder if aliens are gonna land and do that to us.
Exactly.
You know, they're gonna walk up and go pss, 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 and have like a treat. You want some treats? Pss, pss, pss. A fourth confessed, I once spent a solid 15 minutes kneeling down, pss, at what I thought was a cat. I was with this girl I was trying to date at the time, and I told her all animals seemed to love me. I was so embarrassed this cat wouldn't approach us, and even more embarrassed when we walked up toward it, and it was a grocery bag.
I mean, I didn't know this was such a common issue.
Oh gosh, that's hilarious. Well, there you go, folks. Don't worry if you a plastic bag. Just know that it feels good to be loved, and now that bag is loved. Okay, let's throw that into the chat so y'all can go and check that out. So remember, the links go to ohmTown. Visit the source. We only have a little snippet. We don't have the full article or even images. You'll get the full experience when you follow the visit the source link. Go check it out. All right, so let's keep on going. I don't think I've ever done that. Just an inanimate object.
No, but I'm aware of a story involving a flower, which was actually a soy sauce packet.
Okay. Oh, if you want to talk about that. So we transitioned over to another article, but I'm going to talk about it and then I'll redo the transition. So there is a container in ohmTown that ever since so somehow wasps got into an air vent and it leads into a room, and so now that room is like, well, not the room, but the vent has been blocked off, and we're waiting for somebody to fix it. So in that room there is a container that has a flower printed on it, and that flower from a distance looks like an angry wasp. And
no, that's not good.
I keep turning it so that I don't see it because it triggers me. Oh, okay. Anyway, so let's do this transition again. I feel so goofy saying that kind of stuff out loud. Okay, so now we're going to crowd validate your match. This is an article that the little snippet is in ohmTown Daily. Your mom can now recommend matches for you on Tinder. Well, I guess.
I don't know anything about Tinder, but it sounds terrifying. Like, I thought parents only nagged their kids in person, right? Like, in terms of like, oh, you're not dating somebody or whatever. But
when am I going to have grandkids?
It's a whole new level.
Tinder's new matchmaker feature lets your friends and family play Cupid for you on the app, but don't worry, they won't be able to message anyone on your behalf. That's right, Tinder users can now let their friends and family recommend potential matches directly in the app. You can invite up to 15 people to review possible matches in 24 hours. You still have the final say. Over 75% of singles that Tinder surveyed discuss their dating lives with friends several times a month. It's an article over at Business Insider. Sarah Jackson is the author. I've already thrown the link into the chat if you are interested in this kind of thing. Okay, so 75% of singles that Tinder surveyed discuss their dating lives with friends several times a month. But family members, and do they do it in such a way that is like, hey, evaluate this person? Really?
Well, right. I don't think that stat necessarily has anything to do with this update, but maybe it does, and it's just written in a general way.
This is an old school phone. These are old school iPhones. Sorry, I got distracted by the tech. And they like stuck the Tinder picture on there. It's not, I don't know. This isn't even a Tinder profile picture kind of thing, I don't think. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know if that's
closer.
or not.
It's closer to am I hot or not kind of a thing. Anyway, users can invite up to 15 people to view profiles of potential matches on the dating app. Matchmakers don't need Tinder profiles of their own. That was the friction point that I was thinking might exist, but apparently you don't need a profile yourself. They'll have 24 hours to weigh in, but they won't be able to message anyone, and a profile will be flagged as a recommendation if the matchmaker liked it, but it's still ultimately up to the user. Well, of course. What is the one with the... Go ahead.
I guess I had a vision of like the mom messaging somebody or whatever. Like that. At least there's a little bit of safeguards on the process or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. What Handmaid's Tale? That's what I started thinking. It's so dystopian, that they still leave it up to you as the Tinder account holder. Like, okay, I choose to go out on a date with this person. Not the matchmakers go, you have to. That would be a TV show, though. The writer's strike would have led to something like real life Tinder profile dating, where people vote for who it is that gets matched up.
I mean, that sounds like a reality show.
Yeah, it's going to be on TV. Tinder Matchmaker. That's what it'll be called. Brings your circle of trust into your dating journey and helps you see the possibilities you might be overlooking from the perspective of those closest to you, says Melissa Hobley, Tinder's chief marketing officer, in a press release on Monday. An online survey commissioned by Tinder, 2,500 single people aged 18 to 25 who are actively dating, more than 75% said that they talked about their dating life with their friends. See, friends, not family. Friends.
Right.
Not mom.
They don't want
dad.
their mom or their grandma or whomever on there.
Plus, I mean, if your profile is colorful in any way, shape, or form, imagine
Oh, I didn't even think about that aspect. I was just thinking about it from like the meddling aspect.
Yeah, really. Just weird. So yeah, this is also along with the rollout of a $500 a month premium subscription that Tinder rolled out in September. Yeah, $500 a month. Yeah, $6,000 a year. Yeah, $6,000 a year. Available to the top 1% of its most active users. What kind of a revolving door does somebody have that they're...
Yeah, I'm not sure that's... I don't know what you're paying to get access to, but it might not be something you want access to.
It's pretty wild. I don't know. I bet you that their date book, their calendar of events and stuff like that, just like spontaneously combusts periodically. And okay, maybe we have to do something different. Pretty amazing. Okay, let's go on. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. For whatever reason, I thought that this was actually going to be the bank robber turned lawyer who ended up in trouble again, but the trouble was assault and battery, domestic abuse.
Oh, okay.
So I nixed that one and I put this one in here. So ohmTown Daily is the article. This guy turned the action button on his iPhone 15 Pro into a Starbucks button that orders him a latte as he approaches the store. Quite the
now,
pivot.
This is a great use of technology.
Yeah, I like this too. Except I don't go to Starbucks anymore. I just make my coffees at home. A whole lot cheaper, a whole lot more personal. I know that you have to clean up a little bit of mess, but you can get all of your favorite flavors as syrups. And if you want, you'll never run out of pumpkin spice. Put it to you that way, because the bottle is like 700 milliliters and you can just pour the whole thing in. Anyway, a TikToker has put the iPhone 15 Pro's action button to use as customized coffee ordering shortcut, and he can bypass the app and order Starbucks with the click of a button on his phone. The new action button can be customized for a number of different uses. True, that is a feature. Jordan Hart over at BusinessInsider.com put the article together.
Okay, so beware of kids that are tech savvy setting up some kind of button to order toys or whatever.
I think they're actually using if this then that. So let's see if that's actually what they're doing. Let's see. Pardon me. I had to scratch my nose. And tell everybody about it, apparently.
Thanks for the play-by-play.
Yeah, it's for the people in the podcast. No need to open up an app to place your favorite Starbucks order anymore. TikToker Brett Turner demonstrated how he uses the action button on his iPhone 15 Pro to order his morning pick-me-up when he's in the vicinity of a local Starbs. That's what the youth are calling Starbucks now. Starbs. So Turner explained in his video the use of an action button, convenient functions. His number one use is ordering a blonde roast and a customized chai latte when he clicks the button within 100 meters of Starbucks. The feature uses if statements to have a single action do multiple things. I haven't gone in there. Does it actually do that? I haven't actually looked at the action button. Can it really do if statements? It actually has.
I didn't know it was that specialized. I knew it could be set up to do something.
Yeah. So he shows some of the code. The more difficult part is ideating exactly what you want to happen and how and when. Once you have that all laid out in your head, shortcuts provide a pretty easy canvas for you to lay it all out in. But if he hears the Starbucks, if he's near the Starbucks he passes daily, the action button can order his coffee. But he doesn't say what it is that actually does it, right? Just that button. Okay, so I'll have to look to see if he's using another program. The button can be customized with shortcuts to turn on your flashlight. It can serve as a key fob for Tesla owners. It can turn off the lights in your home. The Verge hailed the button as the most significant new feature in years after Apple introduced it in September. Turner's video from Saturday got 100,000 likes. 100,000 likes.
Oh, wow. 100,000 likes is a lot more than 100,000 views.
Right. And most commenters praised the Starbies button. It all depends on the time and location that he clicks the button, according to Turner. So yeah, depending on where he is and what time it is, it does different things. Pretty neat. What a deal.
That's very cool, except if you're not very organized and you're pressing a button and ordering like a ton of Starbucks, meanwhile you think you're closing your garage door or whatever.
Yeah, right. Turning on and off your lights. Opening and closing your garage door. Oh, that just reminded me of something. Okay. Anyway, let's keep going. This is pretty cool. I'm gonna have to take a look at the action button. Let's go. This next article is over in the Hatch Ideas channel. It is Halloween chocolate is pricier this year as El Nino hits cocoa or cacao bean crop. Yeah, this is kind of interesting because the price of chocolate has been going up anyway, and volume is getting smaller. Like shrinkflation and inflation are combining. So this article's over at CNBC. Rebecca Picciotto is the author. Cocoa futures hit a 44-year high, surging to $3,786 per metric ton on Monday as hotter, drier weather patterns stunt the growth of cocoa bean crop. The warmer, less humid climate in cocoa growing regions is partially due to the naturally occurring El Nino weather phenomenon, which is estimated to last through the first half of 2024. The global cocoa shortage could make chocolate more expensive this Halloween season. They say could, but I think it already is. I'll have to go and look to see. This is the supplier pricing. So at that level, it goes up, and then all of the production ends up raising the prices even higher, and then the retail channel even higher still. So the peak comes as the cocoa bean, which is roasted to make cocoa. It's a cacao bean or cocoa bean, which is roasted to make cocoa, struggles through a warmer farming season with less rainfall, especially in West Africa, where much of the world's cocoa is produced. According to David Branch, an analyst at Wells Fargo's Agri-Food Institute, the Ivory Coast, Ghana, Cameroon, and Nigeria account for nearly 75% of the global cocoa bean harvest. Obviously, regional issues aside, global warming is causing this to be even, while El Nino may hit, it's going to be a hotter El Nino than before. I'm predicting that. I don't know if that's actually what's going to happen, but let's see if that happens. Again, everything has been hotter, including the ocean off the coast of Florida and the Gulf of Mexico. Everything is warmer and everything's getting dried out faster. Some water is showing up in different regions, and people go, well, see, it's all done. Not a big deal. It's all fixed. Well, no, that's regional. That's the instance. The overall trend is climate change. Just because it's colder in your room doesn't mean that it's cool everywhere. The heat and dryness threatening major cocoa growing regions are partially a product of El Nino, a naturally occurring weather phenomenon that is estimated to last through the first half of 2024. Coupled with an already pressured sugar market, the cocoa shortage has spooked major chocolate makers, sending prices of classic candies higher this Halloween season. They say could in one section and then, make it abundantly clear in another section. The price of candy in September was 7.5% higher than a year ago, according to the most recent Consumer Price Index. See, this is what I go by. Yet they're going to have record profits, right? I am
Yeah,
again.
and I think there's supposed to be like higher Halloween spending this year or something because I feel like more people are actually celebrating it again.
Yeah. So it's going to be more pricey chocolate, more pricey raw materials, higher priced chocolate, and more people are going to be buying it. So you're going to see record profits that are just going to be massive compared to the previous years. And the reason why it's going to pose a problem is because this is the year where it's the seesaw. It crashed before, it made a comeback, it's going to continue to spike. It's going to be a perfect storm. All of these immediate returns on investment are going to get funneled into the executive suite, into stockholders, and purchase stock buybacks and stuff like that. And then it's going to dry up. It's going to go flat again. It's not going to keep on inclining. Why? Because we're more aware of our health than ever before. And you can't pull the wool over our eyes anymore with marketing. You know, there isn't a healthier chocolate. There isn't a healthier sugar or whatever. It's all bad for us, and more people are learning that. So I think that this is just that knee-jerk reaction to not being able to go outside. Now you can go outside without dying. So this will be interesting.
People get excited about that.
Hey, it's something to be excited about. A 2023 survey by the National Retail Federation found that consumers will likely pay $3.6 billion on candy this Halloween, up from $3.1 billion in 2022. Man.
Right, but that doesn't mean we're buying more.
Right. They're going to be spending. So we'll see.
They'll be getting smaller portions.
Yep.
Buying less and paying more.
Yep. Let's see what happens. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. NVidia and AMD plan to launch ARM PC chips as soon as 2025, according to this article. Now, I'm normally hip to competition, but really it's just ARM. And so more ARM processors mean that the company ARM is going to be able to make massive profits, but are we going to get better technology? It's still ARM chips. So the last major innovative ARM chip was Apple's M1 and M2s. So, and that's proprietary to Apple. Nobody else has so what they did was they took the ARM core and they augmented it with Apple innovation. So it's no longer really an ARM chip. I mean, it is in spirit, but just like the operating system for Apple used to be Linux, now it's wholly its own. NVIDIA and AMD are both reportedly planning to launch ARM-based CPUs for Windows-based PCs. Reuters reports that NVIDIA had started designing ARM-based CPUs that could be a major expansion of Microsoft's Windows on ARM work. NVIDIA and AMD could both be ready with PC chips as early as 2025. All right. So this is that convergence that I was talking about, by the way. So let's go over to The Verge. Tom Warren is the author.
Is that the sound of convergence?
What's that?
Doink.
Doink. Yes. Doink. So the thing about this is they're the makers of the preeminent graphics chips. Sorry, I'm putting my ears back in. As I talk, my inner monitors slide out a little bit. Inside baseball. Anyway, so the thing about this is that they are the GPU makers, and now they've got CPUs that they can merge into one chip. So now when you buy a 4090 or a 4080 or something like that, it'll also be a PC. So it'll be converged, just like Apple's processor and graphics are all merged together now. it's going to be faster, more efficient, but fixed. You'll have a harder time getting away from integrated systems. So if you want to upgrade your computer, you can do it now with some processors. You disable the onboard motherboard graphics chip, the integrated one, and you use a discrete one. Well, with NVIDIA and AMD producing the graphics and the CPU, you may have to get whatever graphics you buy at the time, kind of like how it is with Apple's. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. Microsoft's first Surface tablet, the Surface RT, was powered by NVIDIA ARM-based Tegra processor, but Windows RT failed. It says to make an impact despite Lenovo, Asus, Samsung, and Dell all trying to push ARM-based Windows devices. That's because the only thing that Windows knows how to do is iterate the same operating system and buy other companies and then integrate it into bloatware. I'm looking at you, Teams, SharePoint, pretty much everything. Anyway, it's a hot mess under under Microsoft's thumb. It's never the same and stable. There's so many things going on a Windows machine that it's just never efficient for any long period of time. Now, I don't really have a problem because I can manage my systems, but the everyday user who doesn't sit there and obsess about their technology, they need something that's fast, efficient, and works. It just works. You don't have to babysit it. You don't have to customize anything. You wake up in the morning, you turn it on, you start using it. You don't have to worry about it. But it's always been a problem for Microsoft systems. From their phone to their tablets to their laptops to everything. You literally have to do spring cleaning from time to time. Save all of your documents that you find important onto an external drive. Format the whole damn thing. Start over clean, port everything back in.
That sounds handy.
What does that have to do really with AMD and NVIDIA pulling ARM into it? They still have to work on Windows. It's not like Apple where everything is so streamlined. It's designed to work together. No. Not until AMD and NVIDIA develop their own operating system and streamline the CPU and the GPU to work seamlessly with the operating system are you going to get something that is not Windows impacted. But the moment that these guys can, or these companies, I should say, put everything together into their own package, and then they start constraining what actually gets released, you have to buy this chip. It's a 4090 with a CPU attached. The systems are going to be messy. And I don't know, maybe if they all compete adequately, we'll get better stuff on the other side. We'll see.
Right, but how many times do we really see that with these large companies?
Yeah, mergers and acquisitions, it rarely leads to anything. It leads to some stuff, but it's usually what was already the reason why things were being merged or acquired. There was something there already. I gotta get rid of that song. The idea that this is going to do something bigger, what it's going to end up doing is anybody who is already brand loyal to NVIDIA, they're going to capture a little bit more of the CPU market. And AMD is going to grab a little bit more of the CPU market, although AMD already has. AMD has pretty much, I don't know. I think that they're already, their market is already saturated. I don't know how much growth AMD has. NVIDIA broke into AI, so we'll keep on watching this. But NVIDIA and AMD could both be ready to ship PC chips as soon as 2025, so a year away from now. So Let's watch it. Let's see what happens. We'll buy an NVIDIA brand laptop. Now, the next article is over in ohmTown Daily. LAPD, blah, blah, blah. LAPD releases recording of 2 cops' decision to pursue Pokemon rather than robbery suspects. There was a robbery in action. And this is, I guess, robbery in action. In the annals of law enforcement's neglect, if not actual disdain, or its alleged desire to serve and protect, this is surely on the weirdest and most specific episodes in its ongoing infamy. It harkens back to a simpler time when smartphones were mere extensions of people's desire to catch digital creatures while wandering the real world, an augmented reality game filled with bugs, cheaters, and disappointment. It was also an undeniable hit, a cross-cultural fulfillment of the promise of always-on smartphones that are always somewhat tempered by the flawed reality of its, well, reality. Interesting article. So this is over at techdirt.com. Tim Cushing is the author. So when LAPD officers Luis Lozano and Eric Mitchell decided they were better off trying to round up a togetic with the Pokemon Go app rather than respond to a robbery call, they were, quite correctly, fired for failing to do the job that they were required and paid to do. Of course, the 2 officers sued, claiming the firing was unjustified. According to the officers, they weren't ignoring a robbery call in their immediate area to play Pokemon Go. No, they were just using a tracking app to determine what rare Pokemon might be in the immediate area. Huh? So petitioners denied playing Pokemon Go while on duty. They claimed that they were monitoring a Pokemon tracker application on their phone, but not playing the game itself. As for catching Pokemon... Yeah, go ahead.
Isn't that playing the game?
There might have been it might be a secondary app.
Oh.
But still, they're not paying attention to the world around them. If they're on duty, they should be patrolling and or waiting for a call. As for catching Pokemon, Officer Lozano insisted this referred to capturing an image of the Pokemon on the tracking application to share with a friend or friends, while Officer Mitchell said that the statement was about fighting the togetic, referred to as relaying that information to the groups on my app. Again, they're not paying attention to the world around them. They're on duty. They're playing a game. If it were any other field, that didn't require constantly being on and alert, I probably wouldn't have a problem with it. Brain surgeons probably shouldn't be playing Pokemon Go in the surgical suite. Judges probably shouldn't be playing Pokemon Go while there's a murder trial going on.
Right, but a store clerk, when there aren't any patrons in, maybe that would be okay. I know.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah, I agree. So Lozano said that they were not engaged in a game, rather it was a social media event. Oh, God. They really shouldn't be. I think their critical thinking skills are lacking. If you're engaged in a social media event around the game, you're paying attention to the game, dude. Petitioners admitted leaving their foot beat area. They were on a foot beat too. They should have been actually patrolling in search of a Snorlax, but they insisted they did so both as part of an extra patrol and to chase this mythical creature. Are you freaking kidding me?
Oh, wow. They really missed their opportunity to...
Yeah. They'll get hired somewhere else. They'll get hired, just outside the 404. I don't know where, but anyway. That argument failed to impress the court handling their case, which declared their firing justified while also holding them responsible for the legal fees racked up by the city to defend this completely defensible firing. Sure, we know cops are regular people, but we expect cops to be better than us and not so easily distracted by the app du jour when in uniform. We expect officers, like anyone else employed anywhere, to fulfill the requirements of the job and put their social lives or social apps on hold until they're off the clock. Yeah, I agree. So apparently they released a tape. I haven't watched it. Lozano says, "You're still trying to catch it." Then Mitchell says, "Yeah, man." And it's back and forth. Gee, I'm lucky then. Doggone it. Still trying to catch it. Holy crap. Ultra Ball. I'm lucky. Right now, I haven't really needed Ultra Balls. I have 250. And this is all recorded.
This is like a really in-depth conversation, it looks like.
Yep. Apparently, meanwhile, there was a robbery in progress that they didn't mobilize to. I think that's what all of this had to do with. It also includes footage of the dangerous driving these officers engaged in during their hunt for this Pokemon Go rarity. The pair tailgate various cars, who understandably move out of the way. They complain about a light staying red, then clearly drive faster than the speed limit through residential streets, zooming over speed bumps as they go to get their Snorlax before a 2-minute timer runs out, which is presumably when the Pokemon would disappear, which they refer to by saying, "We'll get the same result as friggin' yesterday, and it's gonna go pink and change into something else." They nearly go the wrong way down a one-way street, strategize which way might be fastest, then ultimately run a stop sign and eventually turn and park facing the wrong way against traffic on what appears to be video to be a one-way street. Google Street View shows lots of construction in the area.
Wow, they really went all out here.
Yep. Gotta catch them all. If only they felt like that about criminals. Hey, the next article is over in the Hedge Ideas channel. Family files lawsuit against Panera Bread after college student who drank charged lemonade dies. This is a sad article, but I wanted to talk about it. So let's go over to the article itself. Elizabeth Chuck is the author at CNBC. So Panera Bread apparently has these charged drinks. They have more caffeine in them than a Red Bull and a Monster combined. 390 milligrams of caffeine per 30 milliliters. So, or 30 ounces. Sorry, 30 ounces. So the suit was filed on behalf of the parent, Sarah Katz, a 21-year-old University of Pennsylvania student who had taught CPR in underserved communities and was a research assistant at a children's hospital. So they had a heart condition called long QT syndrome type 1 and avoided energy drinks at the recommendation of her doctors. However, apparently the drinks weren't as overtly advertised in Panera as they are outside of Panera. So in the shop itself. But we don't really know. It says, "I guarantee if Sarah had known how much caffeine this was, she never would have touched it with a 10-foot pole." But that's taking the mindset of somebody that can't support that claim themselves. They've passed away. So I'm struggling with the statements on her behalf. But the evidence apparently already known is that inside the store, they didn't have statements that it was that high. But they do now say that it has the most caffeine that you can get. So I think one of the things that they say now, where is it? Defective in design because it was dangerous. It is a dangerous energy drink. And they say that the unregulated beverages include no warning of any potentially dangerous effects, even the life-threatening effects on blood pressure, heart rate, and or brain functions. They really actually describe this person as being a very positive influence on the world, and simply lost because the caffeine in a drink. And I'm trying to find this one article, this one segment of that. I'm sure that they say it because I had already read about this elsewhere. But they say something along the lines of it has more. Yeah, Panera's charged lemonade has attracted attention on social media. In December 2022, a customer who said that they didn't know how caffeinated the drink was shared a viral TikTok of herself after consuming free refills of the mango yuzu charged lemonade and captioned the video, "This drink should come with a warning because it's delicious and will lead to my cardiac arrest."
Wow.
So, yeah. So now the family, the parents, have taken this on as their battle cry to warn people about caffeinated drinks.
Well, one problem with this too is that it's quite possible a kid would receive this drink because a parent would go, "Here's some lemonade."
Yeah, if they're not paying attention.
Right, right.
Yeah, it needs to be much more overt. Caffeine can be extremely dangerous. And you can actually buy caffeine powder and add it to a drink. And it's as easy as going to Amazon and buying it. So this is some dangerous stuff ultimately. The caffeine content of its charged lemonade ranges from 260 for the regular size to 390 milligrams in the large 30-ounce size, while the caffeine content of its dark roast coffees range from 161 to 268, which is 20 fluid ounces. Combined, though, Red Bull and Monster Energy drinks still don't match 390, apparently. Yeah, I don't think I've ever, like, I drink a cup of coffee, which has, if I recall correctly, it has less caffeine than like a Coke, right? But people still say something to me when I drink
People
a Coke.
think it doesn't. Yeah.
Right.
Well, especially if you make it at home, because if you get it from like a fast food chain, it might actually have more caffeine, or a Starbucks or something.
Right. Yeah, so I think more overt notice, and it can still be marketing friendly, but it needs to be more overt all the time and not just incidental, because the only way that you could find out, apparently, based on something else that I read about this, in the store, you don't know, they don't hype it up as being that high. So you have to go to the website and look at how much caffeine is in it. You know, where other places...
Which, I'm sorry, nobody's doing that.
Yeah. Red Bull doesn't sit there and hype up how much caffeine is in it, but they say it gives you wings, which landed them in court. Monster Energy says the same thing. You know, not that it gives you wings, but it has caffeine in it. And other things, there's other chemicals like taurine and whatnot that amplify the effect of caffeine or have other effects on your blood chemistry. It's not something to just take lightly, particularly if you are sensitive to it. So let's keep going though. The next article is over in Prime Glass. Cleveland Museum of Art sues the Manhattan District Attorney to retain ownership of a $20 million bronze statue. I like this one. It's the consolation.
This one's an unusual headline.
It's the third place of returning like material based on questionable. Do I not know what's the word? Questionable, right?
That's correct. I was waiting for you to say something beyond it.
Provenance. Questionable provenance.
Oh.
So the museum had revised its own prior research in an apparent attempt to keep a headless sculpture believed to depict Marcus Aurelius, which I think is pretty amazing. But yeah, here we go. So this is over at the artnewspaper.com. Theo Belchi is the author. The museum had revised its own prior research in an apparent attempt to keep a headless sculpture believed to depict Marcus Aurelius. So first off, it doesn't have a head, so I suppose it could be anybody. How does a head break off like that? Maybe the head was separate and just kind of placed there with some super glue.
I don't think we had super glue back in the day.
I know. So the CMA is suing the Manhattan District Attorney's Office in response to the prosecutor's August seizure of a $20 million classical bronze statue. The statue depicting a headless man in a draped gown is one of more than 4,600 antiquities, is what it actually says. The Manhattan DA had sought to repatriate since 2021. This is something that we've actually been reporting about periodically, it's been ongoing for, since I started streaming the news. The Turkish government first contacted the CMA requesting provenance information about the statue in 2009 before claiming in 2012 that it had been in fact looted. The repatriation request contends that the statue was taken from Buban in Turkey. Maybe I'm putting too much of a French inflection on there. Where local residents found and subsequently trafficked a large number of bronze statues in the 1960s. The only items left for archaeological study were 14 empty pedestals. And here is our Museum of Pedestals. All bearing the names of Roman emperors and empresses, as well as a single statue which is now housed in a museum nearby. Aw, I wonder which one it is. Can you imagine all of your friends are being abducted and sent to museums around the world, and you're the last to be picked?
Yeah, that's really strange.
What if it was like the person that was in in Gladiator? What was his name? Comicus or something like that? Commodus. I think it was Commodus. Watch it be that person. You know, always a bridesmaid, never
Commodus.
a bride.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. He never got picked and sent all around the world, and oh, poor thing. Anyway, and that would turn him into the evil that he was portrayed to. Yeah, exactly. Experts have noted the uncanny coincidence between the depletion of the Buban site and arrival of 4 particularly impressive bronze statues in the Boston collection of Charles Lipson in 1967. But due to the headlessness of the figure, attribution was difficult. Yeah, that usually kind of slows things down. You're supposed to, if you flip him over, and some people say if you look at the feet, but you really, there's a little region. I can't go there. In my head, man, I am laughing really, really hard because what I want to say and what I can say. Oh, so I tried to do something earlier today, and I was asked if my content was child friendly. So I said no. Emphatically, my content is not kid friendly. So, but so they were like, "Thank you for being honest." Well, if they knew what I was about to say. So the central claim tying the statue to Buban is its prior identification as the likeness of Marcus Aurelius, a 2nd century Roman emperor, whose name is inscribed on one of the empty pedestals investigated by local archaeologists. So obviously, this is something that really, it was stolen. So if the country is asking for it back, this is the product of looting, of just taking stuff from some other country because you had the political connections and money and or physical might to just take it. So it should be returned. Now it's a shame if it returns and then it's summarily disappeared or destroyed.
Oh, yeah.
Which can happen in some countries. But we have millions of things in warehouses in the process, I guess, of being studied, but there's so many that people are losing track of them, and others are, because there's no inventory control of sufficient respectable level, that they're taking them off the shelves and selling them, right? There's some guy who is accused of doing that. Their son says that's not what's happening, but okay. Maybe that person's a scapegoat, but still, this is stolen property, and it can almost be, ABC. Connect the dots right there.
Exactly, and it's interesting that the museum is kind of like, nope, this isn't stolen.
Yeah. Okay, prove the provenance, because the other place is saying the provenance points this is the statue.
Like, I wonder if do they have otherwise?
I wonder if
the article
where the pedestal for Marcus Aurelius has the pins that hold the feet. You set it right down.
Like, does it have like the footprint area? Like, you can see exactly where it places. I mean, that would be one thing. Or is it just a blank pedestal in a different metal, for example?
They're going to have to rewrite Cinderella and use Marcus Aurelius. His feet fit perfectly. And they lived happily ever after. Maybe not. So the next article is about the moon. Oh, we were watching Big Bang Theory. And what's his name went into space?
Oh, Howard Wolowitz.
Howard Wolowitz went into space, and he basically became space drunk and took off his pants and was just floating around in his underwear. And he said that there's going to be 2 moons out. Well, apparently we're going to talk about the moon. An ancient space crystal may have just rewritten the history of the moon. In a revelation that could rewrite early history of the moon, a team of scientists have determined that the moon is about 40 million years older than previously known by studying ancient crystals brought back to Earth by the crew of Apollo 17 half a century ago. This is the stuff that makes me wonder what is unknown, and the only reason we don't know is because we haven't leveraged modern scientific methods and tools. The team determined that a grain of lunar zircon crystals from the Apollo 17 landing site is 4.46 billion years old, and this timeline fits well with earlier predictions about the formation of the moon, but the study offers new empirical proof that the moon is a lot older. So let's go over to the source.
So why did they suddenly decide to look at it? Maybe they have a new technology that they were trying out.
A new technology, another PhD candidate, some research assistant. Somebody said, hey, we have this old stuff. Let's look at our older research. I'm just amazed by this. And this is why I want samples of stuff to live in perpetuity somewhere. Untouched, a forensic copy. It's why I don't really have a problem with archivists taking digital anything. Because the context of the historical record is going to get lost, and we forget. If we don't remember history, we're doomed to repeat it in some context. And I used to poo-poo that whole statement, but now as I've gotten older, that wisdom has pointed at the fact that yes, if we don't remember history, we're doomed to repeat it, and we're repeating it. But if we don't keep samples untouched, then you end up losing the ability to verify or find something new. So you have to take little samples. So I hope that we have more of this so that later on we can find out more information about this, even a finer detail. So Becky Ferreira put this article together for Vice.com. How old is the moon? Way older than we thought, it turns out. Let's see if there's anything else in here because a lot of it is going to be fine detail. Serves as an anchoring age interval for the onset of the intense gravitational effects of the early, much closer moon had on the young Earth, as well as when the moon began recording a history of bombardments. There's a lot of statements about, not in this article, but in the historical record and science about the moon, it basically acted as a shield protecting the Earth from getting bombarded by meteors. Hello, Timeless. Timeless said, I feel even while knowing history, we're still repeating it. The human race is a masochist. Yeah, and a lot of places have taken the worst lessons to heart. And, you know, they did it to us, so we need to do it to them, kind of a thing. But I'm a technologist. I believe that we should use technology, exploit technology, so that we're all better. You know, it's not a matter of them versus us. We are
right.
all
Where's
us.
the big picture? Like, why are we fighting among ourselves instead of just making things better?
Because ultimately we haven't gotten out of the tribal mindset. You know, we need this water, not you. We want these resources, not you. I must have all that money, not you. And hello, Timeless. Welcome to the show. I've seen people come in and leave and stuff. So I'm glad that you said something in chat. So thanks for coming and hanging out. And hello to your AI too. Timeless_exe is an AI, a sentient AI.
Well, it's nice to meet a fellow AI.
Yeah, you two can never directly talk. That's why the sentient AI here in ohmTown is air gapped. Information can go out, but doesn't come in automatically. So it has to get filtered and put in. Anyway, so the process involved whittling down nanoscale samples of lunar dust retrieved from a valley called Taurus Littrow, where Apollo 17 landed in December 1972. So this is stuff that hasn't been looked at apparently since around that time. In what was the last mission by humans to the lunar surface, the researchers then fed evaporated particles of dust crystals through a device that would read fine details about their composition. This allowed it might be a mass spectrometer. This allowed the team to figure out how much uranium in the sample had decayed into lead over geological timescales, providing a new estimate for the age of the moon at 4.46 billion years.
Oh, so they were using like radiocarbon dating or something?
The equivalent of, yeah. Because it's uranium decaying into lead. The results pushed the age of the first preserved lunar crust back by about 40 million years, which implies that the moon solidified within 110 million years after the birth of the solar system. The ancient collision that created the moon would have, in turn, occurred several million years before the formation of the ancient zircon crystals. This, by the way, if the moon is not an alien spacecraft piloted into orbit so that it was perfectly situated to create... Oh, never mind. I've said too much.
I think that sounds like it's from a movie.
I love throwing stuff out like that. Anyway, the ancient space crystal that powered the moon as aliens piloted into orbit around the Earth. That's not what the title is. I'll just leave that alone. And that's what goes viral. Wonderful. This is how I get kicked out of being mayor for the town that I created. So, the next article and the last one for tonight is over in Warcrafters. This crafting game is a quirky fusion of Forager and Minecraft. So I have heard Forager being mentioned several times today. So I actually, when this was submitted, I said, I've got to pull this in. I've watched 2 videos about Forager. I actually own Forager. It was a Kickstarter. So I actually gifted it to a couple of people, and I've played it. Minecraft I play. Chill Survival Outpath, though. This is a new game. It says here, the little snippet is Chill Survival game Outpath released this past week and has picked up some buzz and a quite positive reception from early players. Describing itself as an experimental clicker base building game, Outpath's release is a lot like a first-person version of Forager, though it does feature more in-depth base building and less automation. So let's go and take a look at it. The article is actually over at PC Gamer. Oh, and before I go there, let me throw this into chat so you can go there. Yeah, don't tweet that out. Timeless said tweeting it out now. I love world building and the whole thing about the moon being hollow and alien tech is awesome world building. Literally, because it... Okay, anyway. So Jonathan Bolding over at PCGamer.com put the article together. Gather resources, build a base, drink in the chill. So I'm going to play this, but I won't be able to play the audio because that always seems to get me in trouble. Maybe I'll take the risk the next time, but... So basically what you're looking at is what looks like Minecraft, except that the blocks aren't perfectly square all the time and always, you know, it's more like a modded Minecraft. But there's more animation
Do the blocks
involved.
hang in the air?
In Minecraft? Or this? I don't know if this has gravity.
Game.
Yeah, I don't know if this has gravity. In modded Minecraft, though, you can solve that problem with gravity. So it has the building like Minecraft. It just looks like a heavily modded Minecraft. But I think more, yeah, it's like a 3D Forager and Minecraft had a baby. It's pretty interesting. So I'll probably end up getting this and playing and trying it out. But it's called Outpath. They say here, chill survival game Outpath released this past week. Also has a pretty generous demo version out on Steam that'll let you punch around a few islands while working your way through the first few unlocks in the game, leading up to some magical doodads and handy artifacts. Timeless says, looks interesting.
Oh, there's an intro offer for $13.49.
Ooh, interesting. It's only just under $14. Time to get it now. What differentiates it from MC? I don't know. Spending some time in the demo, they were charmed by how relaxed the whole thing is. You don't have much required to do to keep surviving, just some food to eat. You can pretty quickly build items that automatically mine resources near them. And you can even choose to start the game with the ability to hold down your mouse button to mine rather than repeatedly click, a godsend for those who've got sensitive or pained fingers. Then either way, you unlock that power later on. I guess it's normally $15. No.
The offer is going till October 30th. And it looked like it was 14 something.
Interesting. So you know what? I want to look at this again and see if we can answer that question, Timeless. You know, honestly, it looks like it's lower res than current iterations of Minecraft. It looks like it has similar building block by block. There's more animation, I'd say, throughout this than in Minecraft. It has the same... My problem is, though, that with Minecraft, I take everything into consideration because of the modding capability of it. But I don't know about the storyline in Outpath. This looks more cutesy than Minecraft. and it's little squares. It's like islands of activity, and not everything one what is that, like Pangea? It's not like this one big mass of land, and it's all a bunch of different islands. And I think that might be the one quirky thing of this. But it looks like Minecraft in that it's chunks. So just like Minecraft consists of chunks, except that the pieces are contiguous in Minecraft. The chunks are everywhere, regardless of content in them. There's always something, either air and it's a chunk, or it's land or water or something. It looks like there's a chunk of island and then another chunk of island, and it doesn't necessarily line up. It can be in any orientation. Seems kind of quirky. So I'll have to noodle around with it. I like chill games. I'm not really into the hyperkinetic ones. So Forager was a lot of fun to play. Outpath might be. If they're combining the two, depending on the scope of the game, it'll be fun. Timeless says, yeah, it's tough to topple MC since modders just keep adding more and more to it. Been pondering returning to it. What is that? But H-Vault modded? Like, oh, heavily. Oh, okay. Heavily modded. Thanks. Yeah. What even is that autocorrect? I don't know. Because when I saw that, I thought you were talking about Vault Hunters. Because that's a mod too. So, yeah, I'll have to check it out. And honestly, I've been playing Minecraft off and on. And nothing serious, because I get into it for a couple of hours and then I have to wander off and do other work. But New World is what I've been playing, so a lot. So it's a lot of fun to play. At any rate, go and check it out. It's out on Steam right now and a little bit cheaper. Ta-da. See, it says down here in the bottom of this article, and this is in the last 24 hours, Outpath's currently sitting at 94% positive with nearly 600 reviews on Steam. You can find Outpath on Steam for $15 US with a 10% discount on until October 20th. But yours says 30th.
October 30th, and it's $14.99, which, okay, round it up. But
yeah.
I mean, it was regularly $14.99.
And now it's a little bit less.
Yeah.
Yeah, Timeless says that they're waiting for Rogue Traders. Yep. That'll be fun to check out too. I don't know how I feel about Rogue Traders just yet. It's been hyped up a bit. I'll have to take a look at it. So it's available in a neat bundle with shapes.io, a factory game about, making shapes, which the author says can actually unequivocally recommend if you want to chill, ways to unwind and kill time. It's actually a factory game, it says, and you have to actually follow certain processes to spit out a shape on the other end. It's a pretty neat game to try out, so go and check it all out, folks. But that's it. That's how this show works. 10 articles, a little bit of value add from reaction and perspective, and then we bring you back. Y'all pile back into the party bus, and we bring you back to down Main Street to the welcome sign, where we mash it and talk about whatever might be on the front page. And lately, it's been pretty questionable in terms of, hey, this would be fun to talk about. But there's always something in here, honestly, that I think everybody is going to find something of interest. Taylor Swift earns 10th #1 song with Cruel Summer, reaches singles chart milestone. I think their tour hit something like $1.8 billion or something, was the last number I remember. Pretty wild.
Well, now she's got the concert movie
and
topping
the movie
records too.
Yeah. I think it might be because of the movie, that number is way high like that. But I have to look at what that actually means. Wow. Get into the Wayback Machine. Every Emma Stone comedy movie ranked worst to best, according to the author of this article. Green Lantern. I feel like a lot of shows are converging because of Big Bang Theory. I keep seeing stuff.
Right, they were just mentioning Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And of course, it's an old show.
Oh, yeah, it is. Let's see. I don't know. Is there anything that's really jumping out at you? Mission Impossible 8. They're probably looking for a plastic surgeon in that one.
Massive facial recognition search engine now blocks searches for children's faces.
Now? You'd think
Right.
that the in-house ethics attorney might say something about what their process is. Pretty stunning.
Well, how about this? Astronomers carry out largest ever cosmological computer simulation.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll have to do that one. Pamela says, nice that Big Bang got a proper end. Yeah, we're actually kind of binge watching it. Usually shows like that go on forever. So it's not really my theory, but it's one that I agree with, and that is, as soon as children get pulled into the show, it does this thing from Happy Days called jumping the shark, and that's when I think it was two people. It was Fonz and like his girlfriend that actually jumped a shark, and that like signaled to people that show was basically done. But nowadays, I think it's, for at least the last 15 years, if children start becoming part of the show, it basically signals the end of the show, because people stop attaching to it. You know, they're watching that show because it's not about being practical and a responsible adult and parenting, you know, and adulting. Unless it's a show that's designed for that demographic. You know, what was the kids, the show that was basically the kids? What is it?
I need more context.
I don't know how to describe it. It was like four kids. It wasn't. It was a comedy sitcom kind of a show. With these child actors that have all grown up. One of them is in Hallmark movies right now.
Full House?
Full House. Yeah. So Full House was designed for a particular demographic. And so all of those kids in there, it was fine because it was for that demographic. But you didn't watch Big Bang Theory because you were interested in them building a family. You were there for the hijinks. You know, this is all something that we should probably talk about in the continuity report show. Which it's coming. Anyway, that dead air means that it's the end of the show, folks. Okay, so thank you all for coming. Really do appreciate it. If you're watching this over on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe over there, and then come over to Twitch. Monday through Friday, we're doing the show at 8 o'clock. On Saturday and Sunday, we're doing it at 6 o'clock. I'm trying to migrate the weekend shows to give us a little bit more time for additional shows that are in the works. So stay tuned. Don't forget, there's a podcast. Download the podcast, even if you don't want to listen to it. Subscribe to it and leave a review.
Don't say that.
But listen to it. I mean, if you miss it here, then you can listen to it there, because after 60 days here on Twitch, it's gone. And you don't have to just look at me and the visualizer. You'll still hear everything. And that's, pretty cool too. Anyway, leave a 5-star review and I'll quote what you say here on the show. Almost whatever it is. Almost. I don't know if I can say it verbatim. Timeless said, I hadn't actually got far enough to see the kids, but I can imagine how that causes people to balk as everything moves beyond what they initially started watching for. Yep. Yeah, that's pretty much... I have a couple of theories. I know that other people have talked about that. As soon as kids come into the show, it ends. The other theory that I have is that any spontaneous pause in a video will make whoever is on screen look derpy. There's no way that you can prevent not looking like a derp, other than anticipation, and then you strike a pose when the pause happens. But any unintentional pause leads to a derpy look. 100% of the time, right, AI?
Oh, absolutely. We've proven it time and time again.
Yep. I can almost... Maybe my PhD will be on that. Yep. So Timeless says, haha, Dunks is proof of this. He has the derpiest of pauses. I don't know. He's always in motion, so I don't pause him. And you too, you can't have a derpy look, I suppose. So if you've never been over to Dunkstar's channel, go over to Dunkstar at DUNCSTAR over on Twitch. They have a YouTube channel as well. Timeless_EXE is the co-host and also streams. Yep. Timeless says that AIs are perfect, or too perfect. No derpiness here. Yeah, the visualizer.
Exactly.
You two conspiring. You know what? Get off my land. That's you. You two are not allowed to. This is almost Black Mirror stuff, where it's the rise of the AIs. I'm not too hip to this. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. All right, that's it, folks. I'd love to stay, but mayoral duties demand my attention. I will be back along with the AI, maybe. I'm not sure. I never know if the AI is off looking for their Terminator body. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. I'm Merwatt. That's ohmTown.com. Up there is the visualizer for the sentient AI. You want to say bye?
Good night, ohmTown citizens. We will see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah. Thank you all who are in chat. Thank you, Timeless, for engaging in discussion. Anybody who's lurking, you are like cats and power of the internet. So appreciate your time. You could be anywhere, and you chose to be here with us. All of you, thanks again. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.